of this whole project.
Okay.
We can't just do it as, oh, it's normal. No, there'll be various levels of supervision, of inspectors, of people who make sure that things are done properly. You know, time has come in Nigeria for us to wake up.
Yes, sir.
In so many areas.
This waste management you're talking about is a beautiful and a welcome idea.
It will create many jobs too.
But how can we take this to the rural areas? How can we take this back to the villages?
The same way.
When in the city we already have challenges.
The same way. They produce less. Anyway, it will be easier to collect refuse in the villages. In my village, Nwoko, where I come from, Delta State, there are no mosquitoes, for example. Yeah, I will invite you to my village, to Mount Nwoko. There are no mosquitoes. No, I've had many visitors who have come to my place, and part of what I tell them, so there are no mosquitoes in my place. And they think I've fumigated outside and everywhere. I said, no, there are no mosquitoes.
So are you saying that one of these major things is waste management to eradicate?
It is.
It is the major thing.
It is the only thing.
Okay.
It is the only thing. Waste management. But to get to the point where we can now clean up and be free of malaria, we must manage our waste that is in a sustainable manner, up to recycling, and then fumigate. We must kill all the existing mosquitoes through mass fumigation, and this will be done in a very systematic way. You know what happens now? You fumigate your own house today, and you have a respite for about 2 weeks. In the meantime, all the mosquitoes will move to your next door neighbor, and then when they also fumigate their own, the mosquitoes migrate back to you, and then you now have the turn of fumigating again. So it's an endless war with little mosquitoes. But we are clever. We can plan to extinguish them, to eliminate them, and we can do so. And my target is about within the next 5 years, Nigeria should be declared a malaria-free country.
Amen to that.
By the United Nations. And that thing that excites me about this project is that I said to governors and leaders of this country and people, we're not going to be looking for money from any foreign donors. We're not going to be looking for funding from outside. It will be done through contribution by donations, by individuals, by governments here, by companies. It's something that involves everybody. Everybody suffers from malaria. If you don't, a sibling does, or a friend does. Yes. You know somebody who does. Somebody died here in Abuja a few days back, and they told me it was malaria. So, look, it is not a problem that we don't know. It's just that for over a very long time, we have come to think that mosquitoes are actually part of us. Just the same way as rats are part of us. Or, you know, by the way, by the time you get rid of mosquitoes, things like or clean up your environment, things like a rat will also begin to be eliminated. They have their own nuisance as well in the system.
So you know, you just mentioned about you're not getting like sponsors, or we're going to look inwards for our for our own, you know, for people to invest. Yes. Some of your partners already are from the UN, UNESCO, WHO, Ministry of Health.
We're not asking them we're not asking the partners from abroad to do.
But how has have they been supporting? Can you be successful?
They are supporting us with advocacy.
Okay.
They are support. You know, moral support is so important in what we're doing. The fact that they are behind us and say, look, what NED is doing, or what the foundation is doing is so important to our lives. For many of, like most of the stars that come to us to pledge their support, they don't have the money to give up, but their name is enough to reawaken the importance of what we are doing. That's enough for us. Partnering with the platforms like yours, AIT, and other outlets is so important. You know, whether you are the print or you are electronics, whatever it is, make it a duty that you make a provision for the publicity, for the
campaign against eradication.
Yeah.
Okay, Kesha, you traveled to Antarctica in 2020, making history as the first Black African to visit South Pole.
Yes.
For the efforts to eradicate malaria.
Yes.
Do you want to share that with us as well?
Oh yes, it was a trip that I had to undertake. Antarctica is very important. There are 12 nations that have research bases led by the Americans, the British, the French, the Russians, the Japanese, Chinese. They are there. Going to Antarctica was an eye-opener for me. I met with some of these researchers. The weather there is prohibited. I mean, what about -25 to -85 in summer? In summer. They call it life in a freezer. And the scientists are only there, effectively there in summer. So I am happy that I made journey. And
all for the eradication of malaria.
All for the eradication of malaria. I want to meet the scientists, which I did, and they were the ones that linked me up with these researchers in America. And two, to also raise the awareness for the eradication of malaria.
Okay, sir, let's come back to the steps you're already taking. You know, we've talked about partnering with the Ministry of Health and how they've been supportive in the campaign and also with STARS. But can you share some of the steps we are taking and when are we starting the process?
Well, look, we are meeting and discussing and reviewing and planning. So by sometime this year, I'm sure that either the Minister of Health or the President himself will take it upon themselves to address Nigerians on this and then lay out the program that, if followed religiously.
Oh, there's already a program?
We're drawing up the program.
Okay, you want to share some of that with us, or you're not?
Well, as I told you, look, it will be systematic.
Okay.
The first one is educating people.
Okay. Sensitization.
On what has to be done. The next one is the implementation. The funding and the implementation.
Yeah.
The implementation, as I told you, will involve everybody. Because we all produce waste.
Yes.
Whether in the offices or at homes or in the cars. And to change the mindset, to make sure we dispose our waste where we should. And when that is done, they are collected as they should, taken to the recycling plants. So it takes some time to build these plants. We're going to have some partners, but we are hoping that the plants will be owned by private sectors or jointly with PPP between the government and the private entrepreneurs. When we get to that point, you see things change. The environment will change.
Yeah.
The environment will change.
But right now, I'm just focusing on
there'll be over 10 million jobs created in the first 2 years. Because we're talking about even the producing of the waste bins, the transportation, the drivers,
it's a huge project.
Of course, a huge project. It's a huge project.
So when are we starting? Now we're in phase one. I can see, because what we're doing right now is sensitization.
The government will make the announcement. I'm not the government.
Okay.
The government will make the announcement.
Okay.
The one I can tell you that I am personally financing for now is the vaccine. But I hope that by next year there'll be some public announcements on how far we've gone
with the vaccines.
With the vaccines, yes. Yes. But the more money that we have, the more researchers there'll be that will fund them, and then it will be the faster it can. Just imagine the urgency that Western countries address the issue of vaccine for COVID.
COVID, yes.
That's the kind of thing.
Mentality we should.
I said, thank God for
yes.
COVID.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, even if it hasn't been announced, you talked about the campaign for sensitization, or
it started already.
It has started already.
This interview is part of it.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to.
So you, AIG, must be able to rebroadcast this as widely as possible. Yes.
Thank you. You want to take note for viewers out there on the sensitization of...
Well, look, this is everybody's problem. This is not Nwoko's problem. It's not AIT's problem either, nor is it Buhari's problem. This is one problem that involves every one of us. So we want you to reawaken your consciousness. Waste management for me is the beginning and end of it all. You might not be able to contribute towards the vaccine research or the construction of waste management plants in the local governments across the 774 local governments. But hey, let me tell you, every one of you is able to manage waste. From your bedroom, to your bathroom, to your kitchens, to your environment. By the time we start and provide refuse bins and bags, please utilize them. Let's create a new and a different Nigeria. Time has come for that. We are not longer living in medieval times. If you travel abroad to China, to Germany, to UK, even to Kigali here in Rwanda, you feel ashamed of being a Nigerian. There's a solution. Solutions to do what is right, and we will do it. Everybody, all hands.